Hello, hello.
Well, hi Ken. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
I can't see you. Can you? Are you? Oh,
Oh,
there you are. There you
yeah.
are. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for making time for me today. I really appreciate that.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
I I do this from time to time, but a lot of people are not that thrilled about uh, you know being recorded on on the video. So when someone takes advantage of it, I really appreciate it.
Well, as I told you, I'm a social media person, so.
Well, my kids are pretty good at social media. I'm not that great at it. I post videos and hope for the best. Well, why don't we just get going? I'm using a software that's recording this, and knock on wood, it's all working.
Okay.
I remember once doing a 20-minute interview with another customer, and when it was all said and done, it could only hear me. It couldn't hear him.
Oh, now
So,
is this lighting okay? I can turn on my room lights.
no, your lighting's fine. I have a
Okay.
little light that I use when I do my industry updates that I have shining on me, but yours is good. It's great.
Okay.
And I can see from the look in your back door that you are in a warm climate. I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if you, well, I don't know what you can see with mine, but well, you can. It's too bright, but we have a
Yeah.
lot of snow here in Utah, so you're in a nicer
Well,
place than I am right now.
yeah, we're in Southern California, but we're getting drenched.
Oh, are you? You getting lots of rain, eh?
Oh yeah, right now it's probably the third days long deluge.
Oh my goodness. Well, I remember a song back when I was a kid called "It Never Rains in California,"
Yeah.
but man, it pours. Oh man, it pours.
Yeah.
It really does. Well, Ken, we'll just get right down to what it is that we're chit-chatting about. And you bought an Infinity chair, right? The
Right.
IT-8500, and you
Right.
bought it back in December, so you've had it for a while. You've had some time with it, and you're quite familiar with it, no doubt. But why don't you tell me a little bit about how you arrived at the decision to get that particular model?
Sure. My wife and I, long ago, maybe 15 years ago, we stumbled into one of those malls, massage chair stores, and we were a little bit taken aback by how much they cost. So we settled on this very simple chair that also kind of fit our modern contemporary decor.
Hmm.
We didn't know any, and I think that technology 15 years ago was very different. So, we used it occasionally. It rolled your back and it kind of grabbed your calves a little bit. And then last fall, it stopped working. And so I called the store and they said, well, we don't carry that brand anymore. And then I looked up the manufacturer and I called them and they said, we don't support that chair anymore. So basically, and I'd been having bursitis problems um, since early fall. And I was just really looking for something to add to the physical therapy that I was going through. So, um, I belong to Costco, and so I'd seen a chair sitting there, when I wasn't interested. So I went online, and it was the end of the year, so they're having their big online massage chair sort of promotions. So I was really curious. And then my wife said, "Well, how can you buy this sight unsat?"
I like
Right?
that term. I like that.
Right, right, right. And so I said, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, technology has changed a lot since when we got our first chair. So I said, so where can I go where it carries this brand for me to actually try it out? So then I went on Google and I looked around, and up comes your Cerritos store,
Hmm.
and it said that you carry like 14 lines. So I thought, oh well, I think that makes a lot of sense to actually not just try the one I was thinking, but I'll
Right.
try some other brands at the same time.
Right.
And I read the reviews on the website, and it said there was really no high pressure sales, whatever. So I drove. It took me about half an hour on a weekday. Drove down there, and I was the first one in the store. And I think Michael is the manager. And just like the reviews, he's telling me, hey, like we have this side of the room and we have this side of the room, and the chair you're talking about actually is made in the cheaper quality factory in China. So we actually don't carry that model. But if you want that manufacturer, we have the better models, right? And I thought he was very, very informative. I didn't feel like he was steering me towards anything. He was asking me like what was I actually looking for, and he did ask me my price range, and the
Hmm.
chairs that you guys were selling were above that. But I'm not immediately deterred by that. I just like, okay, I'm here to learn, and I don't want to buy something that's not going to last. And so
Well,
eventually, yeah, he
I
he
was I,
did, yeah.
Well, I was going to say you're like a lot of people. A lot of people that are looking for a chair. They either had one 20 years ago when they were $1,500, or they
Yeah.
think, or if they haven't, they think that that's a lot of money to spend as it is. And so a lot of people start off at a really lower price point and find that if they want to get a decent chair, they're going to have to pay a little bit more.
Yeah, no, it certainly helped. It was December, and there were different promotions, in your store and even by some of the manufacturers. And then, Michael was really good. He just said, well, if stretching is a big requirement of yours, you really have this Infinity chair, which is actually a good seller, but it's maybe 5 years old model, but we sell a lot of these. Or you have the other end, the $10,000 chair, which he's like, frankly, I don't know that stretches that much better than this one. And I learned about the L bracket versus the S and all that stuff. And then it was just like you said on the website. I pretty much spent over 2 hours there,
Yeah,
sitting in different chairs, right?
yeah.
And really narrowed it down to the Infinity, and the price was right. The holiday incentive, extending the warranty, your kind of satisfaction guaranteed, even including the white glove setup. All of that were things that I was looking for.
Well, that's awesome. Now, the stretch program on that 8500 is fantastic. It's better. I would say it's better than any other chair we carry, regardless of the price tag of some of the other ones. Have you found that the stretch program to be satisfactory for you?
Yeah, yeah. I've always had kind of a stiff lower back, and so just being stretched past 180,
Yeah.
I think once you get past the initial, the shoulder bladders clamp you in, and then it
Yeah.
locks in your ankles. Because when I put newbies in the chair, they get a little freaked out, right? But I can actually fall asleep even in the extended program because it's just so comfortable.
Yeah. If you're not used to the stretch program, yeah, it can be a little. You're like, what's going on? What's happening? Where am I going? And
Yeah,
so it's kind of
yeah,
funny as
right.
you explain it like that. I like that. Well,
Yeah,
that chair.
especially when your head goes below horizontal, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That and I've read up and I know that there's all these benefits when you get your head below your heart and all that stuff. All I know is when I came home, I had to convince my wife, Alan, right? Because she didn't come with me, and she's concerned about my health. She's been very concerned about the pain that I've been in with the bursitis and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so my big selling point to her was, yeah, it's good. It's even with the holiday discounts, it's still going to cost maybe 1,000 more than what I was initially going to spend. But I said the 2 hours I spent in those different chairs, I feel better today,
Wow.
right? Than even with all the 6 weeks of physical therapy that I've been going through.
Wow.
And so she's like, okay, like you don't have to keep selling me. Like I want you to feel better.
Does she use the chair herself?
She uses it. I thought she used it more than she is.
Hmm.
Um, she's a real kind of basic person, and so she's like, oh, I like the old chair where I could just target it to hammer me, at a certain part of my back. And I'm saying, well, I'm still learning some of the controls because this is much more advanced. But I said, I'm pretty sure we can actually move, where this thing hits. The third person in our family, our 19-year-old daughter, when she's home, she's in the chair almost as much as I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because she was working in a mall store and she was on her feet all day.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, she would just run for the chair when she would come home. The foot massage, the calf thing, but yeah, we have our favorite presets,
Yeah.
and yeah, for her the refresh one was the one that she would go to.
Yeah. I think, is that the program that integrates a little bit of the stretch in it too?
No.
One of them
So
integrates some stretch in it. Is that?
yeah, that one is the very first one.
Okay.
It's Recover.
Recover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, um, the uh, the chair, that chair, the 8500, has been a popular seller for us ever since we first started carrying it. I think back in 2009. And that chair, now they've upgraded it to the X3, but still the 8500 is a very, very popular chair. And so I think you really, you chanced upon a real good option there. There is a video now for your wife's sake. I did a video talking about the remote control of the 8500 because it's not as intuitive as some of the other remotes are.
Yeah.
And so if you go onto my YouTube channel, look under the IT-8500 playlist, there is a video there that talks about how to use a remote control. And I think I go into the manual settings for you there because she can target one little area if she wants and then just let it hammer away.
Yeah.
So just so that you know that
Okay.
is there. It's not intuitive to figure it out. Okay, so so you got the chair, you like the stretch program. What would you say? Well, okay, so you got it because of bursitis and whatever other issues you had, but did you notice any other changes? Because now this chair has foot rollers, this chair has zero gravity, this chair has 3D rollers that you probably didn't have on your old chair, which I'm assuming is an old Human Touch. But was there any other pleasant surprises when you used the chair like that you noticed different about your health or anything?
Yeah. Well, first of all, at a minimum, I sit in the chair at least twice a day, sometimes three. Okay. So I think I'm definitely getting my money's worth, and I'm definitely the bladder feature all over the body. So
the airbags, you mean airbags?
The airbags, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the fact that it actually massages my hands and my forearms. I mean, I have a kind of little side hobby business where I take people's pictures, and I have professional heavy Canon camera equipment.
Yeah.
And I could be lugging this stuff around sometimes for 2 hours, and I don't realize till I get home how fatigued my fingers are from all this weight, right? And so even though that might be a minor thing for some people, I find a lot of relief from just the airbags, that whole massage thing. Definitely just the overall massaging that comes of the shoulders, the neck, definitely the calves and the feet. Yeah, I definitely feel very refreshed. I've learned that it's not a substitute for some of the stretching and foam roller work that I learned to do in physical therapy, just because the chair can't do everything.
Right.
But overall, I just feel better. I feel looser.
Good.
And I feel more refreshed.
That's wonderful. Have you okay, is there a particular part of the chair that you really, really, really like your favorite feature, and is there a part of the chair that you don't like or that you wish it had?
Let me go to the second one. Because of the issues on my IT band and my hip bursa sacs, that kind of stuff, that was a tough decision going with the S track versus the L track.
Right.
Because from what I experienced and Michael's explanations, the L track I think it actually goes beneath your glutes more, and it does more massaging there. But the S track on this model, you definitely can get that swivelly part of the seat. But I felt like I was giving up some of that massage to that portion of my body in order to get a better stretch.
Right. So there's a trade-off for you.
Right. There was definitely a trade-off. I definitely really like how it pins your shoulders, and I think it's the relax preset, which is the fourth in the sequence, where even the headrest inflates, and there's kind of a pushing of your head back and forth and all of that. And then I've just recently discovered the manual settings where you turn it on and then you hit the finger and you can pick which of the 6 kinds of massages, but then you can you stay more upright. You don't tilt back, so it's easier to watch television.
Yeah. Good.
and
Important.
and then you can, okay, I'm just going to pick the foot rollers, or no, I'm going to pick the legs, or the upper body, or the arms, right? And I like that option. I haven't found a way to actually pick the time length the way I have on the presets. So I just kind of have to stop it, because it always defaults to 45 minutes.
Right.
But that's not a big deal. I did notice that I got a different pair of glasses because my bifocals, when I get tilted back, I can't really see the television.
Okay.
And so a lot of times I'm being massaged when I'm watching, the news or something like
Right.
that. So I just, I got some glasses that don't have the bifocal, and it is perfect.
Now you can adjust the timer, right? I mean, you can. It
Yeah.
defaults to 45, but you can knock it down to 5 or 10 minutes, all the way up to 45, right?
I don't know on the manual setting, because on the automatic setting, if I'm pushing whatever preset multiple times, then it cycles around to the times.
Right.
But when I pick the manual one, and in order to get it started, you pick the finger, and then every time I poke the finger, it's changing what style of massage.
Right. Right.
It's not setting the time.
That's interesting. I don't remember. I mean, we had that chair in our showroom for years, and I'm trying to remember now if we ever did adjust the time in the manual settings. That's a good point, Ken. And I'm sure someone from Infinity will be watching this video, as people in the industry tend to do. And if they have a comment, and I'm speaking to them now, if they have a suggestion on that, to please enter it in the comment section of the video, that would be great. That's a good point, Ken. Now the stretch program. When people think of a stretch, they're not quite sure what to think. People think of stretching their hamstrings, think of stretching their quads, like you do when you're working out or exercising. But a stretch on this massage chair is quite different, and this is most massage chairs. How would you describe it again? You kind of alluded to it with the bladders pinning you in. It sounded a little claustrophobic, but why don't you describe the stretch program to people?
If you've ever seen a gymnastics competition and they have the pommel horse, right? I think most people are familiar with the pommel horse. It feels to me like I'm lying on my back with my lower back on a pommel horse, horizontal, and then I get pulled in opposite directions across the pommel horse, right? There's kind of this rounded, there's this rounded immovable part, and then both from the upper body and down to my ankles, the chair actually pulls me in opposite direction. And so there's a good lower back stretch, which, I could be wrong, but I think as we get older, there's kind of a sense of getting compressed, and just gravity and all of that kind of stuff. And, years ago when inversion boots were, kind of all the thing, and I see friends get those things and they strap their ankles in, they hang upside down.
Right.
I mean, I was tempted to get one of those things. But I feel like this actually accomplishes that without me literally having to have my feet face the ceiling.
Right. So sorry, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I lost you there for a second. Yeah, I think that's a good way to describe it. The airbags play a big part in that. The chair flat, and one of the reasons that chair is so good at it is because it's one of the very few chairs that can recline to complete horizontal, to 180 degrees. Most chairs will go to anywhere from 160 to 175, 176. Very few go to 180. So that's one of the reasons why you really, really feel that extension motion when it's working. So, but that's a great description, the pommel horse. It sounds almost, I'm just trying to imagine myself hanging over a pommel horse and having both ends pulled. It sounds a little painful, but the stretch is actually a wonderful thing.
Yeah, and you feel absolutely safe because the chair has locked you in. Right. There's no locking in of the hands and the arms during the stretch, so you're not completely immobilized. It's really, I think, a safe thing where it's just keeping both extremities of your body from moving, and then when it actually pulls you, that's how it can do it. Yeah.
It's wonderful, and you don't really know until you experience it how amazing that really does feel. A lot of people love that. A lot of people.
Yeah, I've been trying to, I've been talking it up with a lot of my friends, and they're very curious. But here's the funny thing, Alan. They're almost afraid to try it because then they know they're gonna want one.
Yeah, that can happen. Yeah, I know I'm going to want one after I sit in it. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true, and that does happen.
yeah.
But I appreciate you telling others about the chair and letting them sit in it. That's great. They're kind of a massage chair. I call it a magnet. They're a people magnet. People walk in, they see it. It's like, what the heck is that? I want to sit in that, and it does attract attention. That's for sure. Now, do you have any advice for someone that's looking for a chair? Now, you've been through two chairs now. You've shopped for two chairs over the last 15 years. What advice would you give to someone who is looking for a chair?
I would say, first of all, go to a store that really specializes in massage chairs.
Hmm.
I think over time, when the sharper image used to exist, right, and then what's that? The one
Brookstone?
yeah, Brookstone, right? They would have the Panasonic chair. I mean, that would be definitely the magnet sort of effect.
Right.
I think for a lot of people, that would be the first, if only, experience with a massage chair. And
Hmm.
as I read online, and it could have been on your site or other places, I mean, some of these companies like Panasonic and whatever, that's not the only thing they make, right?
Right.
So I would say, even if your first uh, curiosity came from walking by a chair and sitting, you may even sat in one in the airport or something.
Right.
Um, go online. This is spending a pretty hefty sum of money. It's an investment.
Uh-huh.
Educate yourself, and then, like I say, you gotta actually sit before you buy it. So
Right.
so then I say, go to a store that carries more than one line.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of like when you go to buy insurance or something. If you're only going to an agent that's dedicated to a particular company,
Right.
of course that's what they're going to sell you. I think different manufacturers, different models actually provide different benefits, and so then I think that leads to the other tip is to really know what you're hoping to the benefit you're hoping to get from a particular chair.
Right. In other words,
Yeah.
why are you buying it? What is it that
Right.
you want from? What are you expecting from the chair?
Yeah. So it'd be like, if you're going to go buy a car, well, do you want an SUV, right? Or do you actually want a compact SUV, or just you don't need an SUV, you have snow, so you want all-wheel drive? Or no, I actually just want a subcompact hybrid.
Right.
It's like have that similar mentality where the end use is in mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a good tip. I was just thinking of those shows on HGTV where people are looking to buy a home, and the realtor shows them three different houses, but before he starts or she starts, they have them list the things that they want in a house,
Right.
and then they go and try to match as much as they can with what they want. And it's the same with a chair. You bring up a good point. What are you really looking for? Is it for low back? Is it for a certain height of person? Make sure you know what you want, and then it'll be easier to kind of find that match. I agree
Yeah.
with you. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, even the heating of the lower back feature.
Hmm.
Michael kind of said, "All right, you sit in this brand, which is the brand I originally was looking for." And he's like, "This is a great chair. It's just a little bit more than the 8500, but the one complaint we've heard is that the heating part is very sketchy. You're not even sure it's on."
Yeah.
And so I tried it out, and that was accurately described. And then when I sat in the Infinity, it's like, oh, clearly I know when the heat's on.
Right.
Right. So if that's something that is something you're looking for, if you think it will benefit you and you kind of heat up the muscles in the lower back, again, if there's a stiffness there, then definitely try it out. Like you may not get that in a manufacturer description, but you might find it in the reviews. But then I think the next level is go experience it yourself.
Right. Yeah. Great advice. Or make sure you don't buy a chair sight unsat.
Yeah, yeah, you like that, huh?
I like that. I wrote it down. I'm going to probably use that somewhere else, Ken. So you can thank your wife for that.
Yeah,
Thank your wife from me. But
Yeah, I will.
Well, I really appreciate your time, Ken. Your comments have been insightful. They've been concise. That you've given some really good information, and sharing the experience. This is valuable to people that are looking for chairs. I mean, this is what these videos are for people that are trying to make a decision. And so your input is invaluable. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm going to say one more thing about your customer service,
Hmm.
right? Because maybe you're too modest to ask me about that. But of anything I've purchased that was of a significant amount of money, you and your company have provided the best customer service I've ever experienced.
Wow. Wow. That's
Okay.
saying quite a bit because I know we buy a lot of things.
Yeah, right. So I just wanted to give you that feedback.
Oh, thank you.
You gently give incentives for referrals, right? And all of that. But even the return policy, the skill of the white glove guys. I think when I got my chair from you guys and I had it set up, I posted on it on Facebook, and then I got some responses of other people who had recently also bought chairs, some like Costco and what have you, and theirs were still sitting in the garage as the husband was trying to figure out how to hook it all up, right?
Yeah.
And then carry it upstairs, and blah blah blah. And so I would tell people, it's a significant factor to not just like Costco will drop it in the first covered space,
Hmm.
right? And this comes in 3 giant boxes, right? And it's just like you want to get in that chair that you just bought. You want to get it and you want to start using it.
Right.
So the fact that you guys offer this, at least especially during the holidays, as part of the whole, package,
Yeah.
I've been continuously impressed with you and your integrity, and just the
Thank you.
level of interest and concern that you have after I bought your chair.
Well, thank you very, very much. That means a lot to me because that's something that people don't think about when they're buying a chair. They think about the deal. They think about, finding the right chair, as we've talked about. But what people don't think about is what happens if I've got a problem with the chair, or do I feel like I was just a sale and now I never hear from them anymore? What if I have problems? That is important to me, Ken. So I really appreciate that feedback.
Yeah. Well, definitely what you have convinced me of, Alan, is that I wasn't just someone to buy a chair, that you and your company are there for me with this chair in the years going forward.
Yep.
So should I have any problems or whatever, unlike my previous chair where I went to, I called the original store and they're like, sorry, right? And
Yeah.
then I called the manufacturer and they're like, nope, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not going to get that drop off from you and your company.
Well, thanks. And some of those things you touch on are issues in the industry that, have to be dealt with. Sometimes chairs are discontinued and the parts are gone, and so sometimes those are issues that we have to deal with. We have to accept. But there are a lot of things that your retailer can do for you to help you get through that, and that's what we like to do. So, and I won't go into details on that, but if
Yeah.
and when that time comes, we'll do what we can to shine for you as well. But I really appreciate that comment, Ken. Thank you very, very much. And I'll make sure Michael watches this video too.
Yeah,
Because
that's right.
you mentioned him quite a bit in the video, and I want him to know that his work was appreciated too. So thank you, Ken.
Oh yeah, well he deserves the kudos. You've got a trusted guy in Cerritos.
Yeah, he's a good man. He knows his stuff, and he represents us well. So I appreciate that too. Thanks, Ken.
Yeah, I
Anyways,
mean it's
oh,
yeah.
go ahead.
Thanks so
No,
much.
go ahead. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, I was gonna say it's one of those things where it's a good thing that he's obviously sat in all those chairs.
Yeah.
Whereas I think some other boss would go, hey, you're loafing. You're,
Yeah, our job, doing work in our business is sitting on chairs, and that's a tough job. It's a tough job,
yeah.
but someone's got to do it, Ken.
Yeah.
Someone's got
Well,
to do it.
yeah. It really helped me make my decision.
Good. Well, I'm glad. Thank you so much again, and for your time. And I know your time is valuable, so I really appreciate it. And I'll hopefully have this video posted later today if you'd like to see it. And unlike
Sure.
me, I can't stand watching the videos that I make, but you're welcome to watch it. You're far more photogenic than I am, to be honest with you. But Anyways, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much, Ken.
You're welcome, Alan.
Okay, see ya.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.